Hello and welcome to the podcast all about becoming a health coach. I'm Megan McCrory, an aspiring integrative nutrition health coach. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm very happy that you found the podcast and a very special welcome to you. You may want to go back and listen from the beginning to hear more about my health coaching journey. We are going to start this episode off in week 6. Now, Week 6 has no additional training from the school. I'm going to the School of Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And week 6 was a no module week. So week 6 and other weeks that I have no module to tell you about, I am going to give you more information about what I'm doing on my own to start my business and to educate myself further. I'm super excited about this because I feel like it was helpful for me also to collect all these things together just to prepare them for this episode, to see how far I've come really in 5 weeks. So just 5 weeks. Super excited. So one of the first things I did, even before the class started, was to set up a website. Now I know that sounds like, hey, that sounds like it's way far down the road, but no, not for me. Now I've had my own website, meganjmccrory.com. for many years now, I think going on 4 years now. So I was very, very comfortable having my own space on the interwebs. And it actually gave me a good opportunity to try a different source. So I have my personal website hosted on Squarespace. This is not sponsored. Hosted on Squarespace. Love it. Squarespace is great. I mean, back in the day, I used to HTML code. So for not having to do any of that is great because I forgot it all. So Squarespace was awesome. I really like how it's pretty user-friendly and the tools are getting better and better. So they're getting better with their analytical tools as well. And I have this one established, although I don't write articles on a regular basis. I do kind of like fits and spurts on that website. So for this website, I thought about using WordPress.com. And like an idiot, of course, I didn't research before I started and didn't realize that there was like 2 different kinds of WordPresses. So one that you host on your own place and one that they host for you. So I signed up for WordPress.com, which is the one where they host it for you. So you do not have to have your own server, which I don't have a server anyway. So that's fine. But I think I wish I would have just like done a little bit more research before going in on that. And I also find WordPress is not as user-friendly for me as Squarespace. So I'm not sure I'm going to stay with WordPress. I'm going to give it some more time. I've already changed my template once, my format. But I'm going to give it some time and let it go from there because it seems that WordPress, the one thing I do like about that is it has a bigger audience from just simply other WordPress users. So I've gotten a lot of people liking and reading my material simply because it's coming up on WordPress, their WordPress reader. So I'm going to keep it there for the moment. I think maybe when the year ends, I might switch it up and make it and take it over to Squarespace where my other one is. I started that and I tried to pick a name for this website that would kind of keep it open for future activities. So my website is called mybestself.fit. So it's not a .com, it's not a .edu, it's not a .gov. So now there's so many more .whatevers. Now it's not so common to have a .something else besides .com, but I can tell you, you have a way more possibility to get what you want. And so I really, really liked mybestself.fit. So it gives you the impression that the website is about bettering yourself, doing things to make yourself better, and also I like the .fit for like fitness and whatnot. So I was really, really happy with that. I was also able to secure the Gmail address, mybestself.fit@gmail.com. So that's also nice that they're paired together. So I did that, and I started to do a few articles on there, just simple articles, just a landing page on about me, what is health coaching, and who am I. That's all I started with at the beginning, just to like get my place in the world. So then over the last couple weeks, I went back into Facebook because I think I'm a pretty good Facebook user, but I did not have any clue on how big Facebook groups were. I mean, okay, so I have a Facebook page for my other podcast, One Life as an Expat, and I have my own personal Facebook page. But this other third group called Facebook Groups, I think I was not clear on how people were using this, and this is like blowing my mind a little bit on the amount of information that's floating around on Facebook. And I want to scream, and I'm like, put all this information to a wiki, please. You can't find anything in Facebook. Although I have to say I haven't really tried searching, but like, these health coach communities, and that's what I'm talking about. There's a bunch of health coaching groups or coaching groups or entrepreneur groups or women's groups or you name it. There's a group out there for you on Facebook. My goodness, like there is so much information on these pages, and I think it's great. I think it's absolutely fantastic that it's basically a forum, right? Which in the good old days of the internet, you just had a forum and people would start threads and they would talk about those threads. And now it's the same thing, but it's just in Facebook's platform where a lot of people are, but not everyone. So that's one of my gripes, is that all of this wonderful information is on Facebook and in these groups, but not everybody's on Facebook. And I'm just thinking about the health coaches who have decided that they need to have like not as much of a digital presence, which is fine, but they still want to find information. So I'm just like, I really want to like glean the information from there and get it out into outside Facebook where more people can have access to it. I feel like it's kind of just in there, and Facebook won't last forever. So I feel like all this information is kind of floating out there in the ether and it'll just be gone one day. So, but Facebook groups are absolutely amazing. If you've never gone into them, maybe I'm just late to the party. But honestly, there's a Facebook group, support group for anything. Now, a lot of them are private, or closed, I think is the right word, closed. And then there's secret groups, and then there's open groups. So open groups, anybody can join whenever they want. Closed groups, there's usually a couple questions that you need to answer, and an administrative person lets you in. And a secret group you don't even know exists unless somebody sends you the link. So a lot of the groups I'm in are closed groups. They're really for health coaches only. One of the first people I saw when I was doing research back in October last year about this topic of health coaching was Michelle Fennighaus. And it was basically her website that led me to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. So after I kind of got through the initial couple weeks and I was feeling like a little let down from the first two modules because there wasn't very much meat in it, to be virtual meat, not physical meat. And so I decided to go back to Michelle's Facebook page and realized her website, and realized she had a Facebook page. So I joined her Facebook group, to keep the terminology right. So I joined her Facebook group and also her email list. And then this started to happen. It was kind of like the floodgates. And I'm sure it would happen with anybody, not just Michelle, but it was kind of like that was my entry point. But Michelle does a really, really good job of marketing and also cross-marketing. So, for example, she has a webinar on like how to make more money as a health coach, which was great. And then at the end of this, she's kind of advertising her own additional program called Healthy Coach or Health Coach University, where she does private coaching with health coaches on how to make their business better, how to get started. And I think that's great. And I think I'm going to jump on the opportunity, but I'm going to jump on that at the end of my school. I'm going to let my school session ride out. And then I think I'm going to be looking to do that next year in 2019. The other thing that Michelle kind of cross-generated, let's say, was a webinar with a lady named Nathalie, or she might say Natalie, but in Europe it would be Nathalie. And they're basically advertising a customer relationship management tool or a CRM tool on how to manage all your clients called Practice Better. And Practice Better was developed for health coaches and wellness coaches to have like a part. So your part as the coach and like the back end and all the other stuff. And then it has a client side. So like a client could come and go to this site. They have their own login. That's where all the notes are from your sessions with them, your recommended supplements if you do that. It also has a calendar that they can schedule their next appointment, so you don't have to go back and forth trying to schedule an appointment. They can pay through it as well. So it's a like kind of all-in-one tool for health coaches to keep everything together. And I thought it was really, really cool. Again, I'm not quite ready to use it. I went ahead and signed up, and I can have 3 clients for free. So I intend to use this system after module 10. So I'm in next week will be module 6. So I have 5 more weeks. After module 10, when the health histories are open, I intend to start using that tool with 3 of my friends who wanted to do the health histories anyway. And then I can start to get a feel for that tool well before I need to use it or really need to have it. And I already talked to the lady who owns this. And of course, when I signed up by a certain date, I could get 20% off my next 6 months or whatever, blah, 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 which to me in the end doesn't matter anyway. If I really like the tool, I'll just get it. But she told me that, okay, when you're ready to actually use it for more clients, let me know. I'll give you the 20% off. And this is really what I love about this community. It's not about just making money. Okay. Everybody needs to make their money, but it's also about really supporting the people who are getting out there. And it's really about support. I can't say that enough. And I'm going to mention it again later on with another example that I have, is that these people really support you. And that's with the Facebook groups, everybody's very, very supportive. It's like a whole new community, and it's fantastic. I feel really like in a good place that everybody there has the same intention, and that is to make sure your friends and family and clients are the healthiest people they could possibly be with your support. I mean, it's so simple. It's really that simple. It's like, we just want to make the world a better place. Can we throw world peace in there as well? Because honestly, I would love that. That would be great. So, okay, back to where the Facebook group hole took me. So besides Michelle, and then I met Nathalie, and I'm meeting virtually, right? The next person that I met through Michelle was Julia Sarver, and she's living on the West Coast of US, and she is also a health coach, also from Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and she created a program called Detox Done. And Detox Done is the program name for the health coaches. But it's basically a 5-day detox program, like wrapped in a pretty package with a bow on top for any health coach to kind of pick up and run as their own program, which I think is amazing. And I'll tell you how I got to that. So I had, there's this thing called, I think what Joshua Rosenthal, the guy who started the IIN school, he calls it synchronicity. So like just when you're doing something, everything else seems to kind of fall in line. So in between modules 3 and 4, I was inspired by a Mary Kay commercial. I know, weird, right? I was inspired by a Mary Kay commercial I saw on YouTube of confidence, women in confidence, self-confidence, beauty, self-care, that kind of stuff. And I wanted to make a workshop around this topic. So I was starting and developing a workshop for here. And a lot of people ask, well, how do you develop a workshop? Well, I just started off with like, what are my main points? What do I want to get out of this? What do I want my, the people coming and listening, what do I want them to take away from it? For me, workshops is fun because I really, really love talking to people and having workshops and doing workshops. I do this at work as well. So I know that I really enjoy this kind of activity. And I also enjoy putting things together. I have to admit, I had never done a workshop like this. I'd always done like a work-oriented workshop where I had a really clear, defined what I needed to get done in that workshop. So developing my own workshop was fun, but I thought, let me search the interwebs and see, can I buy a workshop? Or when I'm done with my workshop and I've done it several times and refined it, could I sell it to somebody else for them to use as well, in the spirit of support? Because not everybody is really good at creating content, but it's also in the spirit of, I'm going to make money. So even if I sell it to that person for $50 and they use it again and again and again, I don't care, because it's one, the message is still getting out there. So whatever message that you want to give about health and wellness, typically most people are on the same page. Maybe they tweak it a bit, but I thought this is a great opportunity. If I, maybe I could sell these. This is another area where I could go into. So of course I looked it up, and there are some people selling programs. I didn't really like the ones that were being sold, and I thought, okay, I know what's out there now. I'm going to continue working on my own. However, then I met Julia Sarver through Michelle Fennegahouse. They did another joint webinar where they introduce what it is. And I was really blown away by her program, because it wasn't like a workshop, like a one-time workshop. It was really a complete program, marketing, graphics, emails, launch schedule, protocol, recipes, after detox. Even some workshops to help fill the detox. This program is amazing. I'm still going through all the materials, which I've downloaded already. So needless to say, I bought that program, and I'm super excited about it. I'm actually going to run that detox with Julia in 2 weeks. She is super supportive. If you want to talk about customer service, this lady is the definition of customer service. She has, of course, a Facebook group for all the people who have purchased the program from her. So other health coaches like myself who want to do something that, they don't want to take a month to develop this program. They want to just do it and they want to get it started. So that's really the premise. So her detox is all about whole foods, just eliminating some inflammatory things like gluten, dairy, and sugar out of the diet for 5 days, helping your clients feel better, maybe shedding a little bit of weight, but it's more about awareness of putting whole good foods into your body, which is another thing I really loved about this program. So I really can't say as much, oh my God, I can't say any more about this because I'll just keep going on and on about it. But what I really enjoy is, again, the support. There's a Facebook group. People are asking questions. They're helping each other. So other health coaches that have purchased this program are helping each other run their first detox, joining a Facebook group to see how somebody, works with their group, because this kind of detox is run, again, through Facebook groups. Who knew? I had no idea. So I really, honestly, it's fantastic. So besides the whole school part of this, all the IIN education stuff that I'm getting, which is already, as I mentioned in episode 5, getting really good, I have this whole other side where I'm just learning on my own from this community, establishing myself, putting my foot in the door there, asking questions, interacting with people, and learning. And I hope that this is going to make a big difference in my practice, starting already so early with establishing what I want to do. And I won't say I have figured out my niche yet, do I want to concentrate on gut health or on hormones or whatever? I'm not there yet. I still need to learn more. But what I am seeing is that this stuff is really exciting me. I finally got that feeling of being able to work all night on something because you're so excited and you just want to keep working on it. I heard people talk about this, like these entrepreneurs, people who are so excited and start something. And I'm just like, oh, I've never been that excited about anything except for maybe my knitting project where I'm like, I'm so close to done. I gotta finish it now. At 3 a.m. I'm knitting and making mistakes. But besides that, I was very nervous about starting this because I was nervous that I wasn't going to be able to sustain the energy behind this new project. Okay, it's still new. I'll give you this. It's still new. But I feel like I'm really getting going in a good way. So I have an idea about where I want to go. I have an idea about what I want to include, like what articles, how do I want to frame my business? How do I want to frame my practice? And I'm just so excited. So besides the education, this whole other aspect, and I'm really grateful. So I do have my own Facebook group because I couldn't not get on the bandwagon for the Facebook groups. And I have my own Facebook group that's a pilot that has people only I know in. So it's all ladies, and I'm basically able to bounce ideas off them. I'm getting used to doing marketing on a regular basis. So, using tools for social media where I can organize myself so I can have my day job and not feel overwhelmed every day, keeping up with a Facebook group and keeping them engaged. And it's really, really interesting. I'm scheduling a Facebook post every day in my group and kind of trying to gauge what gets a reaction, what gets engagement. And that's also quite interesting because I can look back and say, okay, that type of post didn't work well. I tried it 3 times it bombed. Okay. And that's really also super interesting. It's just market analysis, but essentially I have my own little marketing team, and they all know that that's what they're there for, is to engage with me and to give me feedback and whatnot. And I'm super excited that these ladies are there. And that, I think, is the last thing I want to leave with today, is that since I've moved overseas in 2010, I find it really, really difficult to stay in contact with my U.S. friends and family because we're on a different time, so 6 hours difference. So it's really difficult to have any evening conversation with them. I'm already in bed. Also, I'm just not in their lives anymore, so I don't know what's going on, and it's difficult to keep a relationship like that up. And after I started this Facebook group with not even all the ladies that I know, but a lot of ladies that I know in the US, and of course some ladies that I know in Europe, I find that I feel way more connected to these friends that I kind of have I used to have a really good relationship, deep relationship with at some point in my life. And now I have them all hanging on with Facebook because that's what Facebook is, you just kind of memories of friends. But now I feel like I've started a whole new friendship with these people, and it's fantastic. And it's all around health and wellness. It's all around a topic that everybody understands, or at least everybody's curious about. And I wouldn't say that I've been happy, but I haven't been this happy in a long time, just having that level of communication, even though it's virtual, with my family and friends in the US as well. So I would say within the first 2 months of this year, my life has changed a lot. And really, I cannot fathom where it will be in a year from now. I am so excited. I'm so excited to see what happens in the next months, in the next weeks, and who I'll learn, who I'll know from now. And what I will learn. I'm so excited. So I'm super glad that you joined me today on episode 6. So again, this episode was just about what I'm doing personally outside of school. Next week we'll start again. Next week will be episode 7, but it will only be on module 6, so it'll start to get a little confusing there. But I'll keep it sane for you guys. But the idea is still to have the podcast every week, even though I don't have school on some weeks. And if you are a new health coach and anything that I said today was interesting for you and you want to talk further about it, let me know. You can email me becomingahealthcoach@gmail.com. You can also check my website out, mybestself.fit. Connect with me there. Until next week, thanks again for joining and have a great and healthy day. Bye. Hey, you're still listening. Great. Okay, now I can tell you about my 12-week goal setting session. So in this 1-hour session, I'm going to help guide you through a powerful process inspired by the best-selling book, The 12-Week Year. I know. Everybody at this time of the year starts to think about year-long goals. And I would argue that year-long goals are really hard to contextualize. What is going to be happening in a year from now? You have no idea. But 12 weeks gives you a little bit better understanding because you kind of already have your calendar booked out for the next 12 weeks, kind of know what's going to be going on. So if you can focus your goals on the next 12 weeks, you can make some really big actionable steps towards your long-term vision. So in this 1-hour session, we do talk about long-term vision. We talk about where you want to be. We talk about what your 5-year, 10-year, 3-year, all those goals are. But that's only a brief part. We know, we see the long distance view, but let's break that down. And then we get into the 1 to 3 strategic 12-week goals that are going to get you to those long-term vision. Then we're going to put that into a really cool action plan with like checklists and timing and all that jazz to make sure that you are clear and that you have accountability to get those goals done. And then that's not it. Then we are going to tackle your roadblocks because you know you have roadblocks. So we're going to tackle those roadblocks. We're going to create a plan to overcome them. So you know when you start to self-sabotage, you know what you can do to get around those roadblocks. Okay, so if this is interesting for you, it is only 1 hour of your time and it's only 45 Swiss francs. I host this gig over on Fiverr, but I'm also going to put a link down in the show notes. So if you're interested, hit me up.